Welcome to this explainer. We live in a world that is just completely obsessed with complex productivity systems, high-tech gadgets, and expensive software apps. Yet, if you look closely, the most highly successful people on the planet almost universally share one distinctly low-tech habit. Today, we're going to explore why the incredibly simple act of carrying a notebook fundamentally changes how we process the world and exactly how it can change yours too. Let's kick things off with a situation I guarantee we are all incredibly familiar with. Have you ever had a truly brilliant idea? Maybe you were taking a shower, driving to work, or just right on the edge of falling asleep. An absolute spark of genius, and then, literally a few minutes later, it completely vanished. It's the most frustrating feeling, right? You can almost feel the shape of the idea in your mind, but the specific details are just gone. It's kind of like trying to hold on to water with your bare hands. Well, this universal frustration is actually a critical breaking point between two distinct types of people.
And it illustrates a trap we all fall into. It's this fatal little lie we tell ourselves every single day. Oh, I'll remember it later. We have this completely unearned confidence in our mental hard drive. We convince ourselves that an idea is so good, so revolutionary, that there is absolutely no way we could possibly forget it. But let's be real, later never comes. The thought evaporates, and along with it, potential solutions, creative projects, and potentially life-altering decisions just drift away into nothingness.
So, what if the difference between ordinary people and highly successful people is just this one simple distinction? Ordinary people trust their memory. Highly successful people trust their notes. It really is that fundamental. The world's most successful individuals, the visionaries, the innovators, the top leaders, they literally do not trust their own brains to hold on to their best thoughts. They rely on a physical tool instead. They carry a notebook. But why exactly is that? Well, let's break down the mechanics of why relying on your memory is basically a losing game. That brings us to part one, the flaw in our memory, and why those brilliant ideas disappear in the first place.
The core of the issue really just comes down to sheer volume. Look, our brain is undeniably an amazing organ, but it was not designed to be a permanent filing cabinet for every fleeting thought. Thousands upon thousands of thoughts, observations, and ideas enter your mind every single day. Because of this massive volume, your brain has to aggressively filter and dump information. If you've ever heard of the Ebbinghaus forgetting curve, science actually shows us that memory decays rapidly if you don't make an attempt to physically retain it. If you don't anchor a thought down, it's going to get washed away by the thousands of other thoughts right behind it. Most of your ideas disappear within hours simply because your brain is desperately making room for the next input.
So here's the big takeaway. Success isn't about having more ideas. It's about keeping the right ones. Everyone has good ideas. Everyone has goals and dreams that flash across their consciousness. But unwritten goals, they're just wishes. And unwritten ideas are just passing clouds. When you don't capture them, they disappear because they were never brought into physical reality. The most successful people aren't necessarily generating better ideas than you are. They're simply refusing to let their good ideas slip away. They've got a system for keeping them. Which leads perfectly into section 2, building a second brain. This is the actual system of the highly successful. Enter the second brain. Successful people know one incredibly important truth. Your notebook literally becomes your second brain. Whenever an idea pops up, they don't say, "I'll remember it later." No way. They write it down immediately. Take Richard Branson, for example. He has famously credited so much of his billion-dollar success to the simple notebook he carries absolutely everywhere, just constantly jotting down observations and conversations. By systematically storing thoughts outside of their mind, these leaders free up their actual brain to do what it does best, thinking, processing, and creating, rather than just storing. They recognize that today's small, seemingly insignificant idea can effortlessly become tomorrow's massive opportunity, but only if it survives long enough to actually be developed. Now, let's dig into the science behind this in section 3, the psychology of note-taking and what actually happens when you write. When you write something down, you aren't just recording a fact. You are actually communicating directly with your own subconscious. Writing forces you to slow down. It matches the speed of your physical hand to the speed of your racing mind, which inherently makes you think more clearly and organize your chaotic thoughts into actual structured sentences. But more importantly, the physical act of writing sends a powerful neurological signal to your brain. It literally tells your brain, "Hey, this is important. Pay attention to this." You are physically elevating that single thought above the thousands of others you're going to have that day. And the psychological benefits? They're well documented. Psychologists note that the regular habit of taking notes improves your focus, keeping you super grounded in the present moment. It naturally boosts your memory too, because the physical act of encoding the information actually reinforces it mentally. It leads to way better decision-making, since you can review your options right there on paper instead of trying to juggle them all in your head. And incredibly, it significantly reduces stress. People who regularly journal or keep an active notebook often say they feel much lighter, simply because they aren't carrying that heavy cognitive load of trying to remember everything. A notebook isn't just paper, guys. It's a dedicated tool for mental clarity. All right, so how do we put this into practice? Let's move to section 4, starting your habit today with a simple 5-minute daily system. First things first, let's address the most common barrier to entry right now. You do not need an expensive notebook. Seriously, any notebook will work. You don't need a fancy $50 leather-bound journal or some overly complex specialized productivity planner. The magic is absolutely not in the paper. The magic is in the habit. A simple, cheap spiral notebook from the local grocery store is more than enough to completely change your life, just as long as you actually use it. The system itself is remarkably straightforward. Step 1, just grab any notebook you have lying around. Step 2, commit to writing for just 5 minutes every single day to empty your head. We're not talking about an hour, not some massive, exhausting journaling session, literally just 5 minutes. And then, step 3, simply watch how much you grow over the next few months. When you start capturing your thoughts systematically like this, you're creating a tangible record of your mental evolution. It's a compounding investment that only costs you a few minutes a day. Now, if you're staring at a blank page right now wondering what in the world to do, here's a quick roadmap for you. Start with your daily goals. Anchor down what actually matters today. Jot down any new ideas that popped into your head, no matter how weird or small. Document the mistakes you learned from so, you don't repeat them tomorrow. List a few things you're grateful for to completely reset your perspective. And definitely capture the lessons you pick up from books, conversations, or even explainers like this one. You're basically actively curating the best parts of your daily experience and safely storing them right there in your second brain. As we wrap up our explainer today, I really want to emphasize this. Never underestimate small habits. We always tend to think that massive success requires massive, exhausting action. But the truth, real transformation is completely incremental. One page, one idea, one note. These micro actions, when repeated consistently over time, create a massive divide between where you are right now and where you could be. They quite literally alter the trajectory of your entire future. It all really boils down to this ultimate philosophy. The people who write, remember. The people who remember, take action. And the people who take action, change their lives. It's a beautiful, direct chain reaction. Writing is the catalyst for memory. Memory is the fuel for action. And action is the only thing that actually changes your reality. If this explainer gave you a fresh perspective on how to manage your mind, please make sure to hit subscribe for more deep dives into the psychology and the hidden lessons that shape our lives. I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Your next massive breakthrough, your next big million-dollar idea, that specific solution you've been searching for, it might simply begin with a single blank page. So the only real question is, will you have a pen ready when that idea finally arrives? Thanks so much for watching, and go start your notebook today.